Colleen Yates, and I'm the CEO of Regional Development Australia Perth, and welcome back to our show. You know, I have been traveling around a lot lately, and since the launch of the Lithium Valley report last year, I've been asked one question that everybody wants to know. Does Western Australia actually have the ability to participate in the battery value chain? Let's find out. Welcome back. You know, the biggest question that everybody's asked about over the past year since the launch of the Lithium Valley report is, what is Australia's role in contributing to the battery value chain? There's been a lot of inquiries about this, and I think the most interesting thing is that when people think about batteries, they actually think about the end product. They don't realize all the steps that participate in the value chain. They don't realize from the raw product to the precursors, to the cell production, into all these things that end up making batteries. So we might take a little bit of time with this show to actually look at all those different elements of the battery value chain. And as you can see, we have a new format for our show. So I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope that you find what we're doing very interesting. First, what I'd like to do is maybe revisit a little bit of a dialogue that I had with Masood, and he was the managing director of a company called Magellan Power. Now, in that first question about does Western Australia participate in the value chain, yes, we do. And Masood is a very, very important part. He actually assembles batteries. He takes the battery cells and he puts them together and he gets them to talk to each other, and he makes the cells that then store the power. So maybe let's take a quick look at this previous clip that had been done, and we might go back and revisit Masood and see where he's up to. So Magellan Power, can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Yes, Magellan Power is a manufacturer and designer of everything to do with batteries and application of batteries. So we design and manufacture uninterruptible power supplies which use batteries, and also energy storage, a new wave of energy storage that is coming. Brilliant.
So when you talk about batteries, exactly what do you mean? Are you, do you assemble the batteries, or do you design the batteries?
Okay, no, we use the batteries.
Yes.
Batteries, we have been in operation for 27 years.
Wow.
And in that 27 years, we have been designing equipment that uses batteries. So we store energy in batteries, and then we convert them to usable forms, and we use.
Hi Colleen, welcome to Magellan.
Masood, thank you so much for having us.
I've got so much to show you.
Fantastic, let's take a look. So Masood, we're here, and what's behind us is an example of one of your standalone power systems. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Yep.
Standalone power system consists of solar power and batteries, and usually they also go with generators. So the whole system works together in a microgrid.
Yep.
So what we've got behind us is a microgrid, which consists of battery, solar, and the generator. So solar comes in during the day, hopefully when there is sun, and that and the power starts being generated by solar inverters, and also getting stored into the batteries. And at night, when the sun has gone, the batteries will come back and will feed the load. So during the day, you've got the solar feeding the household or a farm or something, and then at night, the batteries come in and they feed the load again. And this goes on until a time comes where there is no sun for a few days, like a day today maybe, or maybe worse. And the effect of that is that the battery will drain, right, and can no longer support the load for extended period of time. And then automatically the microgrid behind us makes the generator come, and that generator will feed the load and also will feed the batteries and make sure that that's topped up for night.
Fantastic. So with all of this, because I see some circuitry and panels and red boxes and some big white boxes here. What part is actually your IP development? What do you do? What do you design?
We go right from into the battery modules, right? Yep. So we get batteries from a battery manufacturer. A lithium battery.
Are these the cells?
Are the cells, and by themselves they're no good at all.
Yeah.
Right? They don't do anything. You need to make a battery module, right? And then you put these battery modules together to feed an inverter. So we've got in here, we've got the batteries, and at the back we've got the battery inverter, so they work together. So we manufacture battery modules, we manufacture battery inverters, we manufacture microgrid to go with them.
That's brilliant. So these types of systems, because they're standalone, who uses them the most? Is it farmers, mining companies?
Okay, we manufacture from 5 kilowatt, which is ideal for a small house, a small farm, all the way to 1 megawatt.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Which is good for mining, right? And every system is almost exactly the same. You've got battery, you've got solar, you've got inverters, and you've got microgrid controller, and you also have generators. So the system repeats itself, but it just gets bigger.
So with the demonstration back here, what would this be perfect for in terms of the batteries you've got? How many batteries?
Okay. What you see behind you is what we've made for Western Power. These are for farms, right?
Brilliant.
So yes, so there are 10 kilowatt of inverter, and something like 25 kilowatt hour of battery, right? And all the microgrid to go with it.
So is this part of Western Power's plan in terms of, because I know we've had big fires and all the polls and all the discussion around what are we going to do about the grid system and how are we going to prevent a lot of these issues. Is this part of Western Power's solution, is getting farms to be more independent?
Well, it's part of the solution for all utilities, not just Western Power. Wherever you have an extended grid, you will have problem, because exactly as you mentioned, there is the flood and there is fire and other natural disasters. Then one of the first things that's affected is poles and wires, right? So when you've got independent power generation, which is renewable, then you have security.
Right.
And the good thing is that you can actually link all of these together as well and make a bigger microgrid, so they can support each other. And in a community where there's few farms, they can actually support each other without dependence on remote generation.
Wow. So in terms of remote communities, for instance, up in the Kimberley, are you doing any work up there?
Yes, we are, yes. The remote, of course, Western Australia, and in fact all of Australia, we have a lot of remote areas. And so we are working with Western Australia, we're working with New South Wales and also South Australia. In fact, this is something that will be everywhere. This will be required everywhere. And after that, there is other countries as well. One thing that the whole world has is a lot of remote areas. So that's perfect.
So RDA Perth, we had launched our Lithium Valley report last year, last July. Since the launch of that report, have you seen a significant increase in interest in batteries and the technology and all the things that are happening?
Absolutely, yes. There is a lot that's happening. That Lithium Valley report did a lot of good for our business anyway. But that was in time, and it was good timing. But it was in time with the pickup of interest in batteries anyway. So now it isn't just Australia that is interested in batteries. There is all over the world is interested in batteries. So up till now, we've been able to generate electricity, but never reasonably store them. But now we're storing them in good batteries, and that's why there is such an interest.
Brilliant. So are these red boxes here, are they, what are those? Are those connected?
Those are inverters. Those are solar inverters. So as I said, you've got solar panels.
Yep.
That feed solar inverter, and that's now standard.
Yeah.
All right. And that just generates electricity. And what we've done is we store the electricity and make the battery work with the inverters, with standard inverters like these.
Yep.
And without the microgrid, these will not work together, right? So it's the microgrid that brings them all together and connects them to a generator as well. So it gets everybody working together.
So for a farm, how many battery cells are needed to provide the power generation for a farm?
Depends on the type of batteries. You get these cylindrical batteries,
yep.
which are the small, and there is about few ampere hour, maybe 1 ampere hour, maybe 3 ampere hour or something. And because a farm will need something like 20 kilowatt hour, you need many of those small ones. But there are other batteries which are much bigger. Individual cells are much bigger. So,
like the prismatic, the
prismatic
square one?
ones,
Yep.
the ones that are in there, the 100 ampere hour, right?
Yep.
So you can put, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 of those small ones in that prismatic one.
So what's your preference? Which one do you like to use most?
At the moment, we are using prismatic ones,
Yes.
right? Because they are easier for us, because of the assembly techniques that we have. The prismatic one helps us more, and also you can pack them better together. Yeah. Later on, we do have a plan to actually buy the cylindrical ones as well, because then we would need more equipment to actually assemble them automatically.
So with some of the new technologies that are coming around, you've seen the pouch?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, would something like that work
very
in these systems?
Very good as well. We are working with some manufacturers in both, you were in Germany, so after that I went to UK. There are some pouch manufacturers there as well, and they are very, very good.
Was that John Fox?
John Fox,
John
yes.
Fox?
Yeah.
Who we've interviewed?
They pack really well together, so we're talking to them as well.
Fantastic. So if Western Australia were to move forward in terms of a battery cell manufacturing, which one do you think, if we were to start on something, what do you think, it's a pouch, or do you think the prismatic, or what type of cell?
I think any of them, if whatever we use, we better start soon, somehow, because we are falling behind. Right? Yes. We better do something and not talk about it so much. Yeah. We better do something, right? And it's the right time. The time is now.
Yep, fantastic.
Right? We can only go so far. Our company can only go so far. We can get the cells and make something with them, but somebody needs to make a cell.
Yes.
Right? And these are gigafactories, which we're not intending to go there. We are more users of batteries. We get batteries and make them do something. Batteries by themselves do nothing. Yeah. Right? Just sit there. Right? So we get batteries, we put electronics, power electronics, and then they do something. So we are in the application of batteries.
Great. So can we maybe take a walk around your facility and see some of the stuff that you're doing?
Yes, if you like.
Great, thank you.
Oh, great.
So Masood, with the batteries that we saw with the power system,
yes.
This is one of those boxes.
Yes.
That's got all the wires plugged into it. So this is where the batteries are?
This is a battery module. It uses prismatic batteries, and we assemble the prismatic batteries inside this. Okay. So if I take the lid off, like so.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So you can see that there is, these are the batteries that are in there. This is the 100 ampere hour batteries,
Yeah.
right? So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 batteries.
16
right?
batteries.
16 batteries. But as I said before, you can't just use batteries on their own. You have to have electronics. And that's what this does. Electronics that balances the batteries,
Yep.
the lithium batteries. Lithium batteries are very efficient. So when you charge them, they charge very, very quickly,
Yep.
and they can get out of balance. This circuitry here, together with some more circuitry, which is this side, just the other side of this panel, balances the batteries, and also it sends all the information about these cells, every individual cell,
Yeah.
to the central control. So we know exactly what's happening with every.
And so does this system that you've designed, the electronics, do they also indicate if a battery cell is starting to fail?
Yes, absolutely. It looks at the voltage, the current, the temperature, and the capacity
Wow.
of every battery. Right? It's actually this top board is doing battery balancing, but the boards that are this side of it, these are actually doing all the number crunching, all the reporting, and storing of data.
And that data must be really, really important.
It is extremely important, and that's a really good point. This is why we make battery modules ourselves, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, we would have to depend on other manufacturers, the manufacturer of the modules, so that we know what the cells are doing. If we make them ourselves, we know exactly what they are doing and what they're capable of
Yep.
doing. So we can push them a bit harder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pause.
So 16 cells will make a 48 volt module.
Okay.
This 48 volt module by itself can have an application, but the real application comes when you put them all together to make higher voltage. Then
Yeah.
you can run much bigger inverters with.
Yeah. That's absolutely brilliant. And as I take it, these are all battery packs that you
We manufacture and
for Western Power.
And there is more.
These.
Yes, they go not only for standalone power systems, which are described, but also for for UPSs, uninterruptible power supply, backup power supply, DC and AC. So that's why we make the batteries ourselves, because then we can make many applications of it.
That is absolutely brilliant, Masood.
Thank you.
So you were talking about some transformers and power generation.
Yes.
Can we take a look at what you're
Of
doing?
course, yeah. We don't just do energy storage. We also do standby power systems as well, which we call backup power.
Yeah.
This backup power are DC and AC, and I'm going to show you what a power station uses as a backup power for all of their control systems.
Brilliant. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Okay, Masood, so what do we have in front of us here?
We have a backup power systems for power stations.
Yep.
A power station has a lot of electronic equipment, a lot of control equipment, and a lot of communications. And if there is something wrong with the power, and for some reason the power is interrupted there, they still want those to keep going, so that they can get control of the power station back. And this gives them that backup power. So this, together with batteries, give them backup power to make sure that they continue with the battery power for 24 hours, for example, so that they know what's going on. They can gradually bring the power station up.
So is this similar to some of the stuff that is being done in South Australia with the grid systems there and the Tesla batteries?
Those are more It's similar to the standalone power systems that we showed, that they have cyclic application, right? That means they come in day in, day out, right? So the type of batteries there is different. The type of batteries there are lithium batteries, which are designed for cyclic application, right? They come on every day, and they charge and discharge and so on. Whereas these actually sit there. It's called standby application. So the batteries sit there and wait for an event, right? An event of power failure. So once that happens, then the battery jumps in and gives the power to the equipment.
That's absolutely amazing. And I guess behind you, you've got 3 systems being tested?
Yes.
Where are those going to go to?
These are going to Calloy Power Station in Queensland, central Queensland. And so they are replacing the old systems and with Australian made, and we are the biggest manufacturers of backup power system in Australia. So they come to us, and we make them customized equipment. These are all customized equipment that work at the temperatures that they are after, and they work the way they want it to work. And so these are going to those power stations.
There's been this conversation around whether or not WA should do batteries, and I know everybody's excited about the electric vehicle market, but what I've been trying to say recently is no, we specialize. We do specialization very well, and I think what you've just said is right on point in terms of our engineers, our designers, our builders specialize and can deliver specialization with IP protection to the world.
Exactly. We can't be everything to everybody, right? But we can be very good at some things, and we are very good at customizing to a particular requirement. So we know hot environment, for example, right? So we manufacture things for that. We manufacture things that don't exist just for that reason, and so that, I think, Australia can be very, very good at that. We can't expect to do everything because it's such a massive market. This market for batteries is so massive. We don't have to take it all, and we can't do it either. So we might as well specialize in something we are very good at, which is storage of that for remote area, for mining, and for grid support. We are very good at that, and that's where we should specialize.
And I think it's going to be so interesting as the world moves into this space, that in terms of that grid support. Grids are going to have to be able to function in a way without coal and without some of the other things that go into it. And but those grid systems will then be charging up the batteries, the electric vehicle batteries. So it's almost coming full circle.
Yes, it is. The DNA of all of that is the same, right? The system is the same. So we saw smaller standalone power systems, right? You can just keep on increasing the scale of that, right? From mining, from small scale farming, you can go to bigger farming, you can go to communities, you can go to mining, and after you can go to the cities and so on. It's all the same system. It just gets a bit more complex. So we can have a self-sustaining system which relies mainly on renewables and can store that energy into the batteries and use them when it's necessary.
Looks like it's going to be a bright future for all of us.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure it will.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, that was really fascinating seeing Masood again and what they're doing at Magellan Power. Now, one of the things that we don't do here in Western Australia yet is actually manufacture the battery cell itself. So I was recently over in the EU and attended the Hanover Messe, one of the largest trade fairs in the world, and met a number of people. But one of the most interesting people that I met was a gentleman called John Fox. Now, John Fox heads up a company called AMTE, and they have a pilot plant in the UK manufacturing battery cells on a very small scale. And my understanding is that he's getting ready to scale up. And we were talking to him about, well, if you're going to scale up, why not come to Western Australia? So let's have a quick chat with John.
Today we've got John Fox, and he actually has a company that looks at manufacturing battery cells. So John, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hi, good morning to you from sunny Hanover. So we are a battery cell manufacturing company. We manufacture from powder to power. So we actually take the raw materials, mix up the ingredients and produce battery cells.
That's really fantastic. So at what stage there in terms of how big are you?
So we have a small proving facility. We've been proving battery technology in lithium ion for 20 years now. So we have a great history in taking a product from the lab through to production. And by doing that, we've learned a lot. We're licensed to manufacture the first worldwide production of sodium-ion cells. So sodium-ion is a new technology that offers a lot of benefits around safety and transportation. So
are you getting ready to expand?
Yeah, absolutely. So our plans are to lay down the foundations of gigaplants. So they're going to be single-digit gigaplants. We're not going to be Tesla style, but we have plans to launch our first gigaplant in the UK during 2021-22. We are talking with individual investment groups around the world, both towards the east and towards the west.
So maybe we can get you to come and look at Western Australia.
Yeah, we love Australia, so we'd be definitely interested in having further discussions with the Australian people to see what we can do.
Great, and so how are you finding the Mesa?
The Mesa's really interesting for anyone who's never been. It's the biggest environment in the world for production and general technology. It's a very big environment and quite daunting. But we're with the Scotland stand. We're based in Scotland as a region in the UK, but we're supported brilliantly by the Scottish government. So we're here on their stand, having a good show.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being out here, and good luck.
Thank you very much for coming by.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, wasn't that fantastic? How interesting is it to listen about battery cell production, whether it's in the UK or even here, which we may take a look at another company that's very small, but they're growing, and they're looking at battery cell manufacturing as well. So I hope you guys are enjoying our show. As you can see, we have a brand new format, which we are hoping to bring to you more and more interesting things about Western Australia, about the Perth region, about all the wonderful things that are happening here in terms of innovation and robotics and advanced manufacturing and the Western Trade Coast and the new port and all types of wonderful things. So I hope to share with you over the next few shows some of those really interesting things, possibly even take you out to a hydroxide facility where the spodumene rock that is the lithium gets made into the powder that goes into batteries. So come back, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And don't forget to subscribe.